Let's do a proper welcome now that you're back at KROQ. It's been too damn long. We were starting to take it personally, and it's so great now that we were able to announce officially, as you have done, Paramore has got new music and a new album and a new tour. And if my math is right, my math is terrible. It's been 5 years?
Yeah, since we put out a record.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because we're now in this weird world where, like, Chili Peppers, 2 albums in a year, and Weezer, 4 albums in a year, and all this stuff. And I think that it creates this, like, highly anticipated return. Does that make the pressure feel more intense for you guys because of how kind of hungry we are for more music?
We did feel some pressure with this one, especially because a lot of people discovered our band after we took the time off, which we kind of just did because we'd been touring since we were teenagers. We were like, I think maybe we just need to go home and check on our families and make sure our homes are still there. I definitely...
Where do you think they were going to go?
I don't know.
They're just all gone.
Oh, now our homes are gone.
This is a different family.
They run away from us.
Heads are falling off.
Yeah.
It was just like the pressure of realizing that there's this whole new wave of people that love alternative music, and maybe the last thing that they heard of us was like Misery Business. But we've had 3 albums since then, and we're kind of on a whole new tip that we're trying to, explore. So there was this pressure of how loyal do we stay to maybe a projection of us versus like who we feel that we are today. And I feel like I'm excited for people to hear, even like the song we're going to put out pretty soon. Like, I feel like we somehow gathered up all the experiences and all the things we've learned and kind of made it we alchemized it all into something new. So it'll be cool to see what new and old fans think. Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is why is we've been playing it on KROQ and people are loving it.
Thank
you obviously just got off of a lot of performances, but you're like you say, oh, we were touring so much. Like, you're going back on the road pretty soon. It's not really that much time off that you're giving yourself again. And then next year, you guys are playing with Taylor Swift, right?
2 shows.
So you've got 2 shows there. Do you get any comps for that? Because I know a lot of people want tickets to that show. I mean, I was trying to get tickets and couldn't get them. Do they give you a certain amount? And can I have one?
Yes and no. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. We don't know yet.
Well, when they announced when we were young, remember how many text messages you got that day?
Yeah.
That was insane. Like,
that was a crazy announcement because it felt like it was fake. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is Fyre Fest.
Yeah,
it's not happening."
yeah.
Because I just start seeing all the bands. I'm like, "Oh, there's Paramore," and they go, "That can't be happening. It's every band."
Right. Even I was starting to get suspect. I was like, "Wait a minute."
Well, and then we get there, and then the wind cancels the first show, and you're like, "Oh, this is not looking good for anybody."
Yeah, I got a few texts. Like, I knew it. I'm like, no, the bands
Cheese
were there.
sandwiches are on their way.
Right.
Yeah.
The Taylor Swift shows, though, I got so many emails that day because I change my number about every 6 months, but I keep my same email address. Big mistake.
Give us your new number now.
So wait,
if you could.
you have the same
911.
email address since what? You were like 15 or what?
No, I don't know. It's like, this is what Apple does to you. It's like, once you get it,
You're bound to it.
You're so bound to it because what are you going to do? Give up all of your, like, all the storage that you have and everything.
Right.
I want to so bad. I want to free myself so badly.
Yeah, it's impossible to free yourself from any email address. But I wanted to ask you about your hair salon because you have a hair salon, and I don't spend a lot of money on things. I'm very cheap, and Klein likes to make fun of me for it. But I will spend money on hair because I feel like you get what you pay for.
For sure.
And we were talking the other day about holiday tipping, and I wanted to know from an expert, what do you think a person should tip their hairstylist around the holidays? Because
Ali said a shiny quarter, and I said, I don't think that holds up anymore.
because I'm like,
Yeah.
do you go from 20% to 30%? Do you do a whole treatment? Like, especially if it's somebody you've been with a long time, you don't leave that person. Similar to an email address, you don't give up a good
It's harder
hairdresser.
to give up a good hairdresser.
Yes,
Yeah.
man. It's a breakup if you ever leave one. It's very personal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I like it's maybe I'm a little bit biased because my best friend, Brian, I met him when I was 17 in a random hair salon. I mean, it wasn't that random to me because it was like the cool punk rock hair salon in our little town that was very sheltered and not super cool.
Right.
But I met him and we were so young and we've grown up together. We're friends. So it's also like, I don't know, what would you get someone that you have like a long work relationship with for Christmas?
I got Klein booze.
Okay.
Bottle of booze.
Like maybe it's just some like a really nice bottle of
Just
something.
so that's the thought that counts.
It's the thought, man. Like,
Yeah.
and I would say that goes for everyone, right? Like we all just want to be considered, and everyone's kind of struggling with this or that. It's been a very weird 4 years, and we're all back out into the world. So like my thing is just when I see people not being cool to each other or kind, I just get like, I have an existential crisis because I'm like, what have you not gotten what have you not learned over the past 4 years?
Right.
Well, that's
So,
kind
like,
of in some ways like This Is Why. It's such an interesting song because I've heard you say before that it's kind of like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah,
right?
right,
It's
right.
almost like it's a great, almost like a reason for why things are the way they are. But in some ways, and this is what I've always liked about your music and your lyrics, is that you kind of attempt to empower. It feels that way. And the idea that even though this is why is how it is, doesn't have to necessarily be.
Right. Yeah. Well, we deal with a lot of heavy stuff with sarcasm and like you have to laugh at yourself sometimes. Like for instance, laughing at the thinly veiled agoraphobia that's kind of all over and sprinkled throughout some of the lyrics on the record. Like it's just kind of a byproduct of being stuck by yourself and actually eventually getting comfortable being by yourself. Now you have to go back out into the world and like learn how to go to shows and stand next to people without being an asshole, and also just understanding everybody that you walk past that you haven't seen in 4 years is going through something. But like we had a couple times on this tour. I don't want to harp on it too much because I don't want to like paint it in a negative light, but there was like a couple shows where people fought in the crowd, and I had a visceral reaction to it because I was just like, you're alive at a show with people and you're singing along to songs that you probably have so many great memories to, or maybe like a song that got you through a breakup or through like moving across the country or maybe through the pandemic, right? And you're just here fighting with like someone you never have met before. And that just seems super sad. And I think we beat each other up enough on the internet. Like, let's just have like a pure moment for 5 seconds, and then you can go back to being an asshole. But like,
you've already won. Like, if you're at a show, you're at a show enjoying a band you like.
Yeah.
Like you've already
there are
won.
points
Like,
in your column.
you're winning.
Yeah.
So if someone spills a little drink on your shoe,
like
that's
whatever.
But that's an interesting thing because you bring up now, and there's been a lot of weird pressure that's now been thrown back onto the artist, right? Because you're on stage and you have a decision to make. It seems like now on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Do we stop the song in the middle? Is this a big thing? Yeah. Are they fighting? Are they making love? That's what I look like when I'm making love. Like fight. It's weird. So like you have to make decisions in any moment, and that's like then you almost can't allow yourself to fully be like, just in the songs, right?
The photo of you when we stopped the show, someone got a photo of Zach, and he just looks. You look simultaneously so at peace and also so confused about what's going on because you're right. It's you have to make this choice, and you have no idea what's actually going on out there because it's usually loud and it's like hazy and dark out there, especially at a festival. But I don't know. Like I don't want people. None of us want anyone getting hurt.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Especially your fans. They got to buy merch. They got to buy the merch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, well, sure.
If you're hurt, you can't buy that merch.
That's right. Got to start selling slings and casts and all that other stuff as well.
I think
you
they
should
got
do
me
that.
because like normally after a song is when I like take my big breaths because I'm slamming the drums, and then it was just like all lights are on and they stop the song and I'm like midway just trying to catch my breath. So I was mainly trying to figure out what was going on, but everybody was like, Zach's face during the fight. And I was like, that's me fighting for breath. That's how I'm looking for a fight. Like looking for what's going
Fighting
on.
their own
Fighting
battle.
for oxygen
But
right
I feel
now.
like a lot of shows I've gone to in the last year, they have stopped the shows for various
Really?
reasons.
Yeah.
I saw Eddie Vedder perform. I forget where I was at, but he stopped. It seemed like somebody needed help. Some people were, and I think the crowd is getting better too about
more
looking out
sensitive.
for each
Yeah,
other.
that's true.
Yeah.
Because the other the people next to whoever someone was having a medical emergency and they held their phones up.
Yeah, they did that
with the
with us too,
flashlight
yeah.
until somebody could come out there. So I know it seems like a negative thing that people are getting more violent. I know they're getting back out there, but I do think there is some good that comes of it eventually because people do step up for each other in those moments.
I
too.
agree with you. I do think that that's happening. I think people are more sensitive to those types of things, and I mean, we try to be. I don't like. We try to like treat our fans, like the people, especially people that like show up at 7 a.m. or they camp out. Like those people are tired before the doors open. We try to like be mindful of that, and if we see someone struggling, like one of the last shows, like there were a couple people like laid out. But sometimes I wonder, I'm just like, maybe we kind of forgot. Like I remember growing up on Warped Tour, you know, you hear about a kid passing out every now and then, and sometimes it's serious. Other times it's just like, oh, I forgot to drink water for a while. But like,
they were like full on stretcher vibes.
It was
like, whoa.
But also, it's like when you're 18, you're like, I just passed out for 3 days, you'll be fine. But then when you get a little older, I should probably be worried about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Or like I should hydrate. Like, you make sure that you're like, all right, I had a vodka soda, I'm going to have a drink next.
Well, future shows we should mention, because this is exciting. Kia Forum, you guys will be there. 2 shows, the 19th and the 20th of July. I believe people are already camped out for those shows. So they give you a sense of the fans.
In a very friendly way.
In a very friendly way, of course. So let's be cool at those shows and enjoy it. And for you, Zach, I mean, it's interesting because you had some time away from the band, and then you get to come back now. What was the thing you missed most about the whole everything? I mean, recording the music, the shows. Was there a thing that you're like, you know, I have my own schedule now, I can do, but also this I miss, and then you don't realize maybe how much you missed it until you get back into it.
I mean, definitely the shows and performing every night, but we travel with such a cool family and crew around us, and I think because most of the time, I mean, you're playing for like an hour and a half every night, you know, which is only, you know, out of so many other hours of the day. So the rest of the time you're like with your, you know, your tour family. So I think that's one thing I miss, like traveling as a group and all the like little jokes you have with people and all like the life you live together. I think that's one thing you get home and you're like, all right, what time's lunch? And you're like making it yourself, and you're like, oh, I don't have.
It's me.
Anybody want to go to catering? Me. Let's go backstage. Me, and I just go to my closet.
That's sad.
No, I just think, it's a sad life. No,
you gotta hit the road.
All right, well.
Somebody's got to live it.
Right.
No, just moving as a crew and as a unit, and like our tour family's been with us for so long. Like our tour managers, like our people that are with us today. Like it's you don't realize how much that goes into like the actual show, and having like everybody come back after 4 years, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for album release day? I mean, it's coming up in February of next year, right?
Yeah.
Do you have something that you guys all do together?
Well, with After Laughter, I think we all we had the vinyl. Remember we went to Taylor's house and like a bunch of friends came over and we all tattooed each other and got very drunk. It was kind of a sloppy, weird night.
Where's the tattoo?
Mine's on my leg, but yours is on your...
Zach has about 7 tattoos on his thigh from that night.
7 tattoos you got?
They're tiny, but they are many.
That is one. That's a freckle. But I got...
I did one.
Yeah, there's only...
You did it
there's
yourself?
4. There's 4
from that night,
it looks like 7. But that's because we're not great tattoo artists.
Wait, did you guys
it looks
do
like
them
one
on...
now. It's just like
That's real team building. By the way, to tattoo the people in your band with 0 tattoo experience?
Yeah, right.
That's impressive.
Mine is
That's why I did my legs, so you can't see them.
the AL for After Laughter, and then I started this, and then Zach and Taylor finished it. But that's actually my teeth, my gap teeth that I grew up with. They've kind of closed on their own at this point. It's not bad, right?
Yeah,
especially for being drunk.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. I would take teeth like that. That's like orthodontia right there. That's strong.
I want it to look like
So this year there will be more tattooing of each other on album release day, February 10th?
I would assume...
Everybody drinks a lot less, so I don't think so.
We're drinking a lot less. I would assume no tattoos that night.
Maybe just henna.
Maybe henna tattoos. We're planning some cool stuff, though, that I think will involve be more interactive, and we're really stoked about it. We've got, we're trying to figure out if we're going to do shows that week, which probably will happen, and some sort of experiences that reach out beyond where we can be, because we can only be wherever we're at, but we really want to be able to celebrate with people all over the world that are excited about the record.
What's the coolest thing that you've seen just on socials, you're on Instagram, whatever, and all of a sudden, and I know the obvious answer is regular people are the best, but every once in a while, if you realize some like famous person or some celebrity or some person on some show you watch is like, well, they're a fan? I didn't realize that. Because that's got to be a weird thing when you realize somebody you're a fan of, right, is a fan of yours in exchange. And is there been a moment where you're like, I didn't realize that person knows who we are? And they're like, big fan.
Well, I think most recently, one that was kind of out of the blue was Justin from The Darkness does this like review show on his YouTube, and he reviewed the single This Is Why, but also the video, and it was just really interesting because like that The Darkness had one of the biggest songs of all time the first year that we were a band, like that we were kind of writing our first record and all that stuff. So this many years later to have someone that, I mean, his show's really good too. He's very insightful, and he kind of gives you like a fan perspective and a musician's perspective. But I would say like up until very recently, we were not a band that felt we did not feel like we were a cool guy band, like a band that like a lot of artists were excited about or into. We had our own friends and from our little world and our little scenes, but it's something has happened. We're really grateful. I feel like we're able to meet a lot more artists, and we're kind of I don't know if it's because the genre, like the way we write has morphed a lot, or that we're just getting older. I have no idea what it is, but there's been a lot of really cool appreciation from other art. Maddie from 1975 sent a really sweet message to me, and I actually didn't even tell you yet to the guys.
No better time than on air.
Yeah, well, here we go.
Tell us now. He was just in this room 2 days ago.
Oh,
so,
was he really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they played the show.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
of
they were
some
just
of
there.
They play again?
our bandmates went.
We just
They played here. We do a little
played
thing called
right-
Pizza in a Band right out there,
Oh,
and
cool.
then they were
Yeah.
at the little venue probably called the Forum that you guys were at.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian and Joey went to that show.
That's right, yeah.
But
What did he say? Tell him what Zach
he
wants to
was
know.
just-
What did Maddie say?
It's just
Yeah, what
really-
did he say?
It's really encouraging, and just said like, I think he saw us talk about he probably saw me talk about one of their songs, and he wrote this very long thing about This Is Why and about how he's come to every Manchester show that we've ever played, and he just loves the band and
that's
hopes
cool.
that we hang out. So if you're listening, let's
Big fan.
set it up.
Are they from Manchester?
Do you guys know if they're from Manchester or not? That's one of our favorite
We should
cities.
know the answer to that.
Yeah, we spent most of our time researching you guys for this, to be honest.
Well, it's
so-
like you absorb all this stuff, and then
Yeah.
some of it
same.
goes away. But speaking of that, I mean, like you're talking about how you're having more celebration and more collaboration with artists. Can you just like hop on any show now? Can't you just like text Maddie and be like, "Hey, by the way, we're gonna do a couple songs of your thing"? Like,
I would never.
you can just do, but that's like
never.
I think people expect that at shows now. Like, who's gonna show up, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't know.
you're
Like, there's
right.
people who are on the bill and they're the randos that just show up, and that's the best. Now people like live
Yeah.
for that stuff.
That's true. It kind of isn't that sort of a very folky 70s thing that's happening in this weird Laurel Canyon way that like that's exciting to me. It does feel like there's more collaboration because there's not all the lines have been blurred between genres, and I think people aren't afraid to tell you what is inspiring them no matter how far it reaches. And that I love that. Like, I just don't think that you would expect, or I certainly wouldn't expect, some of the friends that we've made in music to actually like our music. We just ran into like our friend Julian Baker. She's lives in Nashville too, and she was doing some stuff out here, and like her music sounds so different from us, right?
Yeah.
But we kind of grew up in this weird orbit of the same worlds, and I don't know. I love music as a connector. I think that's why we're friends. You know, that's why we.
And even, I mean, Billie Eilish too, just having
Yeah,
you
Billie.
sing Misery Business with her at Coachella. Just this
Yeah.
cool, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would not have
Collaborate,
expected them to have grown up on our music.
No, and a lot of surprises. And the My Chem guys that when we were young, it was like really cool connected with them again because we played shows with them years ago.
Yeah,
ago,
It's
yeah.
really cool to be back and to see new friends that we like don't know, and then people that we toured with years
Well,
ago.
as fans and
Yeah.
people that play your music and people that talk to your fans on a daily basis, we missed you. We're so glad you're back. New album. You got to wait till February to get it. Of course, you're hearing the single right now on KROQ, and then there'll be another single coming
Yeah.
shortly that
Very
we're excited
soon, yeah.
about. Congratulations. The tour happening very soon.
Thank
Go
you.
there. I'm buying Taylor Swift tickets just to see Paramore. and
If we can get you in, we'll
and then,
give it a
and then I'm
shot.
going to leave early before.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Hit her
Right.
up until she
That's
changes
the
her
plan.
number again.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you guys,
Yeah, you
and
too.
we're just so excited to have you back and making
Thank
more
you.
music
Yeah.
again. And
Thanks.
have a great tour.
Thank you.
When you're back
Happy
in LA,
holidays,
stop by
too.
again.
Yes, we will. Thanks for having us.